Discover it Miles card. Automatically match the miles you earn into your first year. Limitations apply. Discover.com/travel. New card members only. We got a lot of ground to cover. And by the way, Bucky Brooks joining us, Fox Sports NFL analyst. He drafted in the NFL. He's a corner. He's a scout, NFL Network. And I lean on him for a lot of stuff with your sources in the NFL and how you evaluate talent. I'm going to get to the Tua stuff because it's going to be great. Don't go anywhere. But I want to start with this. We all know Russell's great. He's my guy. So I was saying this earlier. I don't think NFL GMs watch Lamar Jackson and say, get me that. I think they look at Russell Wilson, who you could put him in 28 offenses. Lamar, the coach, stylistically, he's unique. I think we have a Russell Wilson in the league. I think Kyler Murray plays a lot like him. And by next year, we're going to have Tua. We're going to have 3 Russells. And I think it's going to spawn generations of baseball/football guy that doesn't want to go to play minor league baseball. And he wants to go to Oklahoma. He wants to play a year or two, wants to go to the NFL and start. So I don't think Lamar is easy to duplicate. I think we're seeing more and more. So let's start about this. Tua looks like Russell Wilson to me.
Yeah, Tua looks like Russell Wilson in a lot of ways. Tua's personality is also very much like Russell Wilson. It is. And we'll eventually get to the Tua conversation. I think what you're seeing is this. You're seeing I would call the result of the past 2 decades. You've had a lot of coaches at lower levels who have been committed to putting the ball in the hands of the best athlete on every down. And so in the lower levels, youth football, high school football, we've seen the best athlete begin to start playing quarterback because the quarterback position is the most impactful position. So if I put my best athlete, my best player at quarterback, he can impact the game more than at any other position. So the Lamar Jackson is born from that. He is the best athlete. You give him the ball. You teach him how to throw. You say, hey, go make plays, go run around a little bit, and he impacts the game. In college football, we're seeing more teams embrace having the athlete at quarterback, runner, thrower, dual threat, RPOs, impact the game. What we're going to see in the National Football League is we're going to see executives who now see a Lamar Jackson, and they can imagine the creativity that it brings to the game, but they hope he can evolve to be a Russell Wilson. Come in the league like Lamar Jackson, end up like Russell Wilson, where you can, but you don't. You can run the ball. You can do all of the zone read stuff, but you don't have to do it to sustain yourself. You save yourself to the fourth quarter like you see Russell Wilson do.
Lamar is so spectacular, we're not paying attention to the kid down at Arizona. With a rookie head coach and a bad O-line, folks, Kyler Murray's numbers are fairly sensational. Absolutely. He doesn't have a John Harbaugh. He doesn't have a good offensive. It's one of the bottom 5 O-lines in the league. It's kind of a rebuild team. So let's get to the Tua conversation. You were a scout. I think there's Russell. I think Kyler looks a lot like Russell. Is Tua kind of the third Russell in the league?
Yeah, I think so. And I think this goes all the way back. You have Trent Dilfer on your show, Trent Dilfer and I, and this great staff we work with, Elite 11, the opening. And so I had an opportunity a couple years ago where Tua was on my 7-on-7 team at the event. And what can I tell you? For all the great things that we have seen from Tua, physically, throwing the ball, the accuracy, the anticipation, the touch.
His accuracy is insane.
The poise and the ability to play in the clutch. His best traits are his leadership ability and his ability to get a crew of people to follow behind him. So when he gets to the spring, and if he decides to come out this year, he will win the room when general managers get around him and they see him interact with other players and they see him become the Pied Piper. Russell Wilson's best traits are not just the stuff that he does with the ball in his hands, his leadership ability, his dependability, his durability, the fact that he's available each and every week, and he makes plays on the big stage in those key moments. That is what makes Russell Wilson special. That is also what makes Tua special.
Yeah, I think it's a really exciting thing. Now, let's go to some quarterbacks. Let's talk Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, I like him. I compare him. I think he compares favorably to Dak in that, starts out 16-3, 13-3. A lot of doubters. Not always a beautiful thrower of the football, both mobile enough, big brands, Staubach, Aikman, Young, a lot of doubters in the room, play with a ton of confidence, win games. There are times, Jimmy G last night late, though he didn't have his weapons, Dak in big spots, although I thought he was great Sunday. I like Jimmy G. I like Dak. I don't think they're Aaron Rodgers, but they kind of feel the same to me, don't they?
They're in the same wheelhouse, and that has always been my contention when outsiders have talked about not wanting to pay Dak Prescott $30 million. Jimmy Garoppolo is in that neighborhood. I think they're very, very similar in terms of what they deliver on the field. Jimmy Garoppolo, the one thing you can't knock is he's won a ton of games. He's won it in different fashions, but he's won a lot of games. I would contend that Jimmy Garoppolo is not an elevator, meaning you talked about him playing without his weapons. Well, in that same game, we saw Russell Wilson play with a guy off the waiver wire, a practice squad development guy, Josh Gordon, who's off the street, and then DK Metcalf, who is a rookie, and it didn't matter. The difference between the Tier 1 quarterbacks and the Tier 2, Tier 1 quarterbacks can take anybody you give them, and they can elevate the squad.
Aaron Rodgers was great without Devontae Adams.
They can do that. Tier 2 guys still need to have the weapons around them to be successful. Jimmy Garoppolo and Dak Prescott are in that tier.
That's a good
look, which is still
you can win a Super Bowl with that.
You still can win with that. It's just that you just can't surround him with anything and expect him to win a number of games.
I want to talk about you helped build the Carolina roster, which I love, and the Seattle roster years ago. Bucky Brooks joining us. So it's years ago nobody did trades. And then Jimmy Johnson said, here's a running back, give me 8 players. And it changed the way that people thought. Mm-hmm. And then, there's trades and stuff, but there were times you traded, there were times you didn't. Then we get some young GMs in the league, Howie Roseman, Les Snead, let's roll the dice. Now we got mid-season trades, and they're all working. I was saying today, Michael Bennett, Clowney, Minka Fitzpatrick, Emmanuel Sanders, Mohamed Sanu, Laramie Tunsil. I don't remember a time in my life where you went out and gave up first-rounders for veterans. Like, this is a new thing, right?
Yeah, it is a new thing, but I think what more GMs are realizing, proven players over picks. Take the known commodities. So much of the conversation when it comes to the draft is projecting what someone will be down the line. Well, when you're in the National Football League and you get an opportunity to see a guy play against NFL competition and have success against NFL competition, well, that can translate to success in another program, provided that the scheme works for the player. What we're seeing, guys are saying, you know what? Rather than, hey, I'm going to take a pick and hey, it's a third-round pick and there's a 30% success rate, give me what I know is working and I can work around it.
Why did it take so darn long to do this?
Because, there's the fascination with hoarding draft picks.
Yes.
People are always fascinated by the possibilities of what could be behind door number 1. Well, what we're seeing, Jadeveon Clowney, the Jadeveon Clowney that played on Monday night looked like the number 1 overall pick. And to give up a third-rounder and 2 players, that looks like a bargain for the Seattle Seahawks. Minka Fitzpatrick, when that trade was made, everyone was like, oh, my God, what are the Pittsburgh Steelers doing? How can you give up a first-round pick? But because they had a vision for the player, Minka Fitzpatrick was a good player his rookie season in Miami, but he was doing too much. Pittsburgh took him, put him in the deep middle, let him be a free safety, settled him in to one spot, and he's playing like the defensive player of the year.
With great linebackers around him.
Dominant
go
player.
Do what you do. It's a little bit of an Ed Reed thing.
Yes. Go make plays. And now when you look at this Steelers team, and I know this isn't a Mike Tomlin discussion, but Mike Tomlin now has a defense that is loaded with young star power. Minka Fitzpatrick, Devin Bush, TJ Watt, Bud Dupree is beginning to play. So now this is looking like the Steelers of old, where the defense carried the way, the offense made enough plays. He is doing more with less. We talked about it. Addition by subtraction, got rid of all the stars, brought in some workman-like players. The team looks like a better overall team.
Yeah, they do. And I bailed on them early. I was wrong. I want to talk about, I was saying earlier that, listen, we know quarterback play matters. We know coaching matters. I'm a big believer. I'm a big believer. I just opened up a hamburger restaurant.
I saw it.
It's very good, by the way.
Look at you.
Very,
big
very,
money. Look at that.
Look at it. Very good. This is excellent. But I remember when we were talking about it, I said, okay, what's the identity of it? Like, I'm a big believer in what's the identity of the herd? Okay, I see shows talking politics, and I'm like, that's not our identity. You got to have an identity. And I went through all the division leaders. And the one division leader I'm like, I'm not sure what their identity is Dallas.
Yeah.
Now, my belief is their identity is Dak and a healthy line. And then you could give me a B back. I mean, I think.
Yeah.
But Sunday night, Jason Garrett doesn't know what their identity is because he took the ball out of the hottest quarterback he'd ever had in 3 years. What is Dallas's identity?
It's funny that you talk about that. So if anyone is an investor, they know how Warren Buffett talks about investing. Brand names. Find the brand names and invest in those. So you talked about identities. Well, when I close my eyes, I know exactly what the Pittsburgh Steelers play like. I know how the New England Patriots play. I even know what the Green Bay Packers play like. When I look at the Dallas Cowboys, I think I know, but I'm not sure. It used to be about Zeke Elliott, Dak Prescott as a complimentary player, and then a high-effort defense that runs around and makes plays. Well, now I don't know because they've gotten cute with Kellen Moore and do we throw it, do we run it? At the end of the day, your team should be about players over plays. Give the ball to your best players. Don't worry about the plays. Dallas has to figure out who are my best players. Is it Zeke? Is it Dak Prescott? Is it Amari Cooper? And then they have to build everything from that pecking order down. And so if I'm Jason Garrett and I'm sitting in the meeting, I got to talk to the coaches and I have to empower them. At the end of the day, give the ball to the best players, and we will live and die with our blue chip players making the plays. The Cowboys have to be committed to making it about Zeke, Dak, Amari Cooper, and then a star-studded defense. When they play like that, they win. When they get caught up in the other stuff and trying to be cute, that is when they lose. They got to keep it simple. If they keep it simple, they still can win a ton of games.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Bucky Brooks, defensive back scout, NFL Network. So Tua is going to go number one, probably to Cincinnati.
Yeah,
Tua goes to Cincinnati. Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow, who would you do?
Joe Burrow.
Okay, Joe Burrow goes 2 to Miami.
I don't know. I'm not going to say that Tua goes number 1 to Cincinnati. I'm going to say that you can look at a scenario where they take a Chase Young. If Chase Young comes out, take a defensive player, because we're talking about all of these quarterbacks. Come back and get your guy later. Look, we've seen how this played out.
Later.
What you mean?
If you don't draft Tua 1, you're not getting him later.
Well, what's the separation between Tua, Joe Burrow, and Justin Herbert? If you don't believe the separation is that great, go and get your better player, who's the best player in the draft, in Chase Young, then come back and get the quarterback. If they're all comparable, that's what you do. You have to make sure that the quarterback is clearly that much different than the other players.
Tua is going to change my life.
He could change your life.
Defensive end.
Okay.
Khalil Mack, how's that thing working?
How's that Mitchell Trubisky thing working?
Because they got the wrong quarterback.
Oh, but I'm saying if they're all alike, and maybe Chicago thought they were all alike, Mitchell Trubisky, Deshaun Watson, Pat Mahomes. I'm just saying.
The two guys that got the right quarterback are fine.
They are, but if you don't take the right one at the top.
Cincinnati, if they don't take Tua, they should, honestly, Jeff Bezos of Amazon should buy the Bengals, fire everybody, and start over. Because I read that story yesterday.
But what if I could give you Chase Young and Cam Newton?
No, I've seen Cam Newton, and I don't need a defensive end.
What?
If you call
Did you see how the San Francisco 49ers affected the game? Did you see how Jadavian County
Okay, let's pretend. Let's do it. Pretend you're calling me right now. I'll answer. Ring, 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 ring.
Ring, ring, ring. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Hey, look, how about we
First of all, who is this?
Oh, this is Bucky Brooks with the Carolina Panthers. I have a quarterback for you. I saw you play last week with Ryan Finley. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to offer you up Cam Newton at $19 million, which is a $10 million discount on the Kirk Cousins. Let's make a deal.
It's staticky. I can't hear you. I'm going to have to hang up. Click. I just hung up on you. I'm going to take Tua. You can't. When Tua's available, you take Tua.
Oh my gosh.
That is the brand. You take Tua. Wow. And call me in the morning. Take Tua and call me in the morning.
Tua and call me in the
Bucky
morning.
Brooks, good seeing you. Enjoy the news.
No.